Listen to me. Your morning is everything. Don't kid yourself. Don't say, I'll start later. I'll get serious after lunch, maybe tomorrow. No, the moment you open your eyes, you've already made a decision. Will you win today or will you lose? You want success? Then stop wasting your mornings. Stop rolling over, scrolling, hiding under the blanket. That's weakness. That's comfort. And comfort is the enemy of greatness. Your morning decides who you are. Are you disciplined? Do you have vision? Do you have the guts to do what others won't? Because I promise you, the successful ones, the champions, they don't wait for motivation. They don't wait to feel good. They build power from routine. When the alarm rings, that's not just a sound. That's life knocking at your door. It's saying, are you ready? Are you hungry? And your answer decides everything. You either get up or you stay small. You either take control or you surrender your day. If you train in the morning, you win. If you study in the morning, you win. If you focus in the morning, you win. And if you win the morning, you build a chain of victories. Small wins stacking, one after another, until you look back and realize you've built the life you wanted. So remember this, your morning is your weapon. Sharpen it, protect it, use it every single day. Because your morning decides, and if you don't decide for yourself, the world will decide for you. When you hear the phrase win the morning, win the day, it's not just a catchy line, it's the absolute truth. The way you spend those first hours after waking up sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start lazy, if you start with excuses, if you start with hesitation, you carry that weakness with you the entire day. If you start sharp, with focus, with purpose, with movement, that energy becomes your momentum. Your morning is like the foundation of a building, and if the foundation is cracked or weak, the entire structure collapses. But if the foundation is strong, unshakable, the building can rise to incredible heights. Your morning is that foundation for your day, and your day is the building block of your life. Think about it. The moment the alarm rings, you're already making a decision. Do you roll over and hide under the blanket, or do you get up and face the world head on? That single choice determines the direction of your day. Most people lose right there. They surrender in the first battle before the day has even begun. They hit snooze, they tell themselves 5 more minutes, and then they wonder why they can't find discipline, why they can't find success. The truth is they lost the morning, and when you lose the morning, the rest of the day is already an uphill fight. Winning the morning is about discipline, not motivation. Motivation is temporary, it fades, it comes and goes like the weather. But discipline is the engine that keeps running no matter what. You train yourself to rise at the same time, to move your body, to fuel your mind, to set your intentions. These are not small things, they are victories. Every push-up, every page read, every note written, every thought organized in the morning, it is a battle won. And each of those battles creates momentum that you carry with you into work, into study, into every decision you make. You feel sharper, stronger, unstoppable, because you have already proven to yourself that you are in control. People say, I'll start later, I'll get focused in the afternoon, maybe tonight. But when you let the morning slip away, you've already lost the best opportunity of the day. The morning is quiet, it's fresh, it's free of distractions. The world hasn't started screaming yet. That's your time to build yourself, to prepare your weapons for the battles ahead. If you waste it, if you let it dissolve into comfort, you're walking into the day unarmed. But when you seize it, when you train, when you learn, when you create, you are walking into the day with armor and with fire. Winning the morning doesn't mean it has to be perfect. It means you claim it. You don't drift. You don't let chance decide what happens. You choose, you design, you step into action with clarity. Maybe it's exercise, maybe it's writing your goals, maybe it's reading something powerful, maybe it's pushing your mind or body in some way. It doesn't matter the method, it matters that you take control. When you take control of the morning, you program your brain for victory, and that program runs the rest of the day. If you start lazy, the program is laziness. If you start strong, the program is strength. Look around at the people who achieve, who push boundaries, who build legacies. They don't start their mornings with excuses, with scrolling, with weakness. They start with action. They know that if you can dominate the morning, you can dominate the day, and if you can dominate enough days, you dominate your life. This is the power of winning the morning. It is not about one workout or one habit. It is about shaping your identity every single day. It's about proving to yourself that you are not soft, not fragile, not at the mercy of comfort. You are in command, and the morning is your battlefield. When you step onto it with strength, with fire, with determination, you win. And when you win the morning, you win the day. Comfort is the enemy of greatness because comfort keeps you exactly where you are. It whispers to you that you've done enough, that you've earned rest, that you don't need to push harder. Comfort convinces you that staying still is safe, that avoiding effort will protect you, but what it really does is trap you. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you trade progress for stagnation. You choose temporary ease over long-term achievement. You think you are protecting yourself, but in reality you are building walls around your potential, locking yourself into a smaller life than you are capable of living. Greatness does not come from comfort. Greatness comes from struggle, from pain, from pressure, from the willingness to step outside what feels easy and safe. Every person who has achieved something extraordinary has gone through discomfort, because discomfort is the training ground for strength. Muscles don't grow without strain. The mind doesn't sharpen without challenge. The spirit doesn't harden without resistance. Comfort makes you soft, while struggle makes you powerful. The body adapts to resistance. The mind adapts to stress, and the heart adapts to sacrifice. Comfort denies you that adaptation. It keeps you weak, untested, fragile. Think about the moments in your life when you grew the most. It wasn't when everything was easy. It wasn't when you stayed in bed, when you avoided the hard work, when you chose the easy road. It was when you forced yourself to do what you didn't want to do, when you endured what others avoided, when you stayed consistent through pain and doubt. Those are the moments that shaped you, that built you, that forged resilience. Comfort doesn't forge resilience, it destroys it. The more you feed comfort, the less capable you become of handling adversity when it arrives. Comfort is seductive. It tells you that you'll start tomorrow, that it's okay to quit now, that one more excuse won't matter. But every time you give in, you reinforce weakness. Habits are formed by repetition, and if you repeat comfort, comfort becomes your identity. You don't just live comfortably, you become comfort, and that identity is the barrier standing between you and greatness. Because greatness requires hunger, and hunger cannot live in the same space as comfort. Hunger demands that you go further than others, that you train harder, that you endure longer, that you sacrifice more. Comfort will never let you do that. Comfort kills hunger, and when hunger dies, greatness dies with it. Every success story is written with discomfort. The athlete trains through exhaustion, the entrepreneur works while others sleep, the artist sacrifices hours for mastery, the leader faces decisions under pressure. None of these paths feel comfortable, none of them feel easy. But they all lead to growth, and growth leads to greatness. Comfort would never let them walk those paths. Comfort would tell them to stop, to slow down, to take it easy. And if they had listened, they would be average, invisible, forgotten. You need to recognize comfort as an enemy, not a reward. Too many people treat comfort like a prize, like something to chase. They work just enough to collapse into comfort, thinking that is the goal. But comfort is not the goal. Comfort is the trap. The goal is progress. The goal is impact. The goal is greatness. And greatness is always one step beyond comfort. That's why so few reach it, because so few are willing to step out of that warm, safe space into the unknown where pain and fear lie. But that's exactly where transformation happens. You cannot fight for greatness and serve comfort at the same time. You have to choose one, and every day, every hour, you're making that choice whether you realize it or not. When you skip the workout, when you avoid the challenge, when you let excuses control you, you've chosen comfort. When you push through fatigue, when you face fear, when you embrace the hard road, you've chosen greatness. The choice never disappears, it repeats endlessly. Each decision writes your story, and over time the story becomes clear. You either lived for comfort or you lived for greatness. Discipline beats motivation because motivation is unreliable, fragile, and temporary. Motivation depends on emotion, and emotions are unstable. One day you wake up inspired, ready to work hard, ready to chase your goals, and the next day you feel tired, distracted, unmotivated, and suddenly everything falls apart. If you rely on motivation, you will always be a slave to how you feel in the moment. You will train when you feel like it, work when you feel like it, study when you feel like it, and when you don't feel like it, you will stop. That pattern creates inconsistency, and inconsistency kills results. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't care how you feel, it doesn't wait for the right mood, it doesn't ask for permission. Discipline is action in spite of feelings. It is the commitment to follow through no matter what. Discipline is showing up when you're tired, working when you're uninspired, training when you're sore, studying when you're bored. Discipline is steady, it doesn't fluctuate, it doesn't depend on whether you had a good night of sleep or whether you're in the mood. It's consistent, and consistency builds greatness. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. Think of motivation as a spark, but sparks fade quickly. Discipline is the fire that keeps burning day after day, year after year. It is the structure that holds you when your emotions collapse. When motivation dies, discipline takes over. That's why people who achieve lasting success are not the ones who rely on motivation, but the ones who master discipline. They don't wait to feel ready, they don't wait for inspiration, they simply act. And because they act, progress builds. Every great achievement is the result of discipline. The athlete who wins championships is not the one who trained only when motivated, but the one who trained relentlessly in rain, in pain, in fatigue, in doubt. The writer who creates a masterpiece is not the one who wrote only when the words flowed easily, but the one who wrote every single day, forcing the craft to sharpen. The entrepreneur who builds an empire is not the one who worked when inspired, but the one who worked through rejection, through failures, through sleepless nights. That is discipline, and that is what creates results that motivation alone could never deliver. The problem is that people romanticize motivation. They chase after motivational videos, motivational quotes, motivational speeches, believing that if they can just get enough inspiration, they'll finally act. But that cycle never ends. They get motivated for a moment, they act for a short time, then the motivation fades and they stop. Then they search for another burst of motivation, and the cycle repeats. Nothing solid is built on that foundation. Discipline is the opposite. It doesn't need hype, it doesn't need emotion, it doesn't need an outside push. It comes from within, from the decision that no matter what happens, the work gets done. Discipline is not glamorous, it's not exciting. It's often boring, repetitive, and demanding. That's why so many people avoid it. They would rather chase the excitement of motivation because it feels good. But feelings don't produce results, actions do. Discipline may not feel good in the moment, but it produces results that last, and those results fuel confidence, progress, and transformation. Over time, the discipline you practice becomes your identity. You stop being someone who just tries when it's easy, and you become someone who follows through no matter what. That identity is unshakable, and it's built through thousands of small, disciplined choices. When you understand that discipline beats motivation, you stop waiting, you stop making excuses, you stop depending on how you feel, you start acting because action itself is the standard. You no longer ask yourself if you feel like training, you train. You no longer ask if you feel like working, you work. You no longer ask if you feel like pushing, you push. The question disappears, the debate disappears, the hesitation disappears. All that remains is the act of doing what must be done. That is the power of discipline, and it will always beat motivation. Small wins stack into big victories because success is not created in one giant leap. It is built through countless steps, repeated consistently over time. People often imagine greatness as a single explosive moment, a breakthrough that changes everything in an instant. But the truth is that breakthroughs are the result of steady progress, of tiny actions compounded day after day. Every small win is a brick, and brick by brick you construct the wall of achievement. Without those bricks, the wall never stands. A small win can look insignificant in the moment. Waking up when the alarm rings instead of hitting snooze doesn't feel like a huge accomplishment, but it's a win. Finishing a workout doesn't feel like the defining moment of your life, but it's a win. Reading 10 pages of a book, writing 1 page of notes, practicing a skill for 30 minutes, these don't feel monumental, but each one is a victory. Each time you choose to act instead of procrastinate, to push forward instead of give in, you create momentum. That momentum doesn't just carry you through one day, it stacks, it builds, it compounds. Over time, the person who collects small wins becomes unstoppable. Big victories are not isolated, they are built on the foundation of small victories. The athlete who stands on the podium did not just win in the stadium, they won in the countless mornings they trained when nobody was watching. The business leader who built a company did not just win on the day of a big launch. They won in the hundreds of days of preparation, meetings, failures, and adjustments. The student who graduates at the top did not win on graduation day. They won in every late night of study, every quiz, every page of notes. The big victory you see is only the tip of the iceberg, the result of thousands of small wins hidden beneath the surface. The danger comes when people ignore the power of small wins. They underestimate them. They think small actions don't matter. They believe that if they can't make huge progress instantly, it's not worth doing. That mindset destroys potential because it keeps them waiting for the perfect moment, the big opportunity, the grand stage. But the perfect moment never arrives, and the big opportunity never appears if you don't prepare for it with the small ones. Big victories are attracted to consistency, and consistency is built through daily wins. Small wins also build confidence. Every time you complete one, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. Confidence doesn't come from imagining success. It comes from proving to yourself repeatedly that you can act and follow through. You lift a little more weight, you run a little faster, you learn a little more, and with each win you raise your standards. You stop seeing yourself as someone who quits, someone who avoids, someone who hesitates. You begin to see yourself as disciplined, focused, and reliable. That identity becomes fuel, and it pushes you toward bigger and bigger wins because you now expect them from yourself. Another power of small wins is that they destroy the resistance that keeps most people stuck. Starting is always the hardest part, but if you commit to a small win, the resistance weakens. You don't need to conquer the entire mountain at once, you just need to take the first step. One push-up leads to more. One page of writing leads to another. One small victory makes the next one easier. Soon, what felt impossible starts to feel inevitable because the chain of wins has built a rhythm that carries you forward. The truth is, life is a series of battles, and you don't win the war by waiting for the one decisive moment. You win by collecting victories every single day, victories so small that most people overlook them, but victories that add up into undeniable progress. Small wins are not optional, they are the path itself. Without them, there are no big victories, only empty dreams. Your morning decides your future because the way you begin the day sets the pattern for who you become over time. Every morning is a chance to make choices that move you closer to your goals or further away from them. The morning is the most powerful part of the day because it is the first battle, and the way you handle that battle shapes everything that follows. If you treat the morning with discipline, energy, and purpose, you set yourself on a path of momentum, and momentum builds into achievement. If you waste the morning with laziness, distraction, and excuses, you create a cycle of weakness that repeats itself day after day until it becomes your identity. The morning decides your future because it reveals your priorities. When you wake up, what do you do first? Do you move your body, train your mind, and take action, or do you scroll, delay, and drift? That first decision shows what matters to you, and when repeated daily, it programs your habit. Habits are powerful because they are the small repeated actions that shape your destiny. The person who wakes up every morning and commits to growth, even in small ways, becomes someone unrecognizable years later. The person who wastes their mornings becomes trapped in the same cycle, never moving forward, never creating the life they want. Your future is not built in a single day, but it is built in the choices you make every day. And the morning choice is the most important one because it's the starting point. Win the morning and you build confidence, you create momentum, you take control. Lose the morning and you start with weakness, you fall into distraction, and you surrender control. This compounds over weeks, months, and years until the results become obvious. Successful people are not lucky, they are consistent. They use their mornings as a weapon to get ahead, while others use their mornings to waste time. Over years, the gap between these two mindsets becomes massive, and the difference between failure and success is clear. The morning also decides your energy. What you do when you first wake up either fuels you or drains you. Movement, exercise, focus, learning, planning, these things ignite energy that lasts throughout the day. Waking up and drowning in screens, junk food, or procrastination drains energy and makes you sluggish. Over time, this becomes the difference between a life of productivity and achievement versus a life of fatigue and mediocrity. Your body and mind are shaped by repeated inputs, and the morning is when those inputs are most powerful. The person who uses mornings to strengthen their mind and body gains an edge over everyone who wastes them. Another reason the morning decides your future is because it's the time of least resistance. Before the world starts demanding your attention, before distractions multiply, you have a window of clarity. That time is precious, and those who use it wisely build progress that others cannot catch. If you wait until later, the day fills with noise and your focus weakens. But if you dominate the morning, you already secure progress before the rest of the world is even awake. That consistency builds into results that compound over time, and those results become your future. The morning is also the time where discipline is forged, waking up on time, pushing through the desire to stay in bed, training when it's easier not to. These choices build mental toughness. Each time you do it, you strengthen the part of yourself that can handle adversity, that can keep going when things are hard. Life will always bring challenges, and those who train discipline in the morning are the ones prepared to handle them. Your future success depends on your ability to stay consistent under pressure, and that ability is built when you win the first battle of the day. Your morning decides your future because it is the reflection of who you are becoming. If you live with purpose in the morning, you live with purpose in life. If you drift in the morning, you drift in life. The way you rise is the way you live, and the way you live is the future you create.